Welcome to my channel.
And this is English Podcast Station.
Okay, let's unpack this. We are diving deep today into something pretty fundamental for navigating daily life, especially if you're learning English. Going to the bank.
It really is. Banking's such a core part of everyday life, isn't it? And understanding the language, the interactions, well, it can build a lot of confidence, especially in a new place.
Absolutely. And our source material for this, it's quite specific. It's based on an English language learning episode, Going to the Bank, originally hosted by James and Erica.
Right. And their goal was squarely aimed at helping listeners with, the essential words, the typical conversations, practical tips, everything you need for that bank visit.
Exactly. So our mission today, we're digging into that source. We want to pull out the most important bits, the real nuggets, to give you a clear, streamlined understanding of banking basics in English.
Think of it as your quick guide to feeling prepared.
Perfect. So let's jump right in. Why might you actually need to go to a bank? What are the main reasons the source highlights?
Well, the source lays out a few main scenarios. Most of them revolve around handling your money directly.
Okay, so the first one, probably the most obvious, is putting money into your account. The source calls this.
To deposit money. Yep.
And the flip side, taking money out.
That's to withdraw money. And the source often specifies withdrawing cash, the physical money.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
What else? Maybe you're starting from scratch?
Right. You might need to open a bank account. That's setting up the place where your money is kept safe.
Or maybe you just need to know how much is actually in there.
Exactly. Checking your balance, seeing how much money you have available.
And sometimes you just have questions, right?
For sure. To ask questions about your money, maybe about the bank services, and using the ATM comes up too. That's a big one.
The machines. Which
Yeah.
brings us to who or what you interact with. The source mentions.
Two key things. The teller, that's the person working there, helping customers face to face.
Mm-hmm.
And the ATM, the automated teller machine, the self-service option.
Got it. Actions and actors. And of course, you need the right words. The source emphasizes some key vocabulary, not a huge list, but really crucial terms.
Totally. Knowing these specific words is like step one for understanding anything that happens.
So let's run through that essential toolkit. First, the main concept, bank account.
The source defines it simply. A place where your money is kept in the bank. Your spot.
Clear. Then the action of putting money in. Deposit.
To put money into your bank account. Adding funds.
And taking it out. Withdraw.
Taking money out of your account. Often, withdrawing cash.
The machine we mentioned.
Yeah.
ATM.
Automated teller machine. The source says you use it to get money out or check your balance. No teller needed.
And the person.
Teller.
Right. The
Yeah.
bank employee who helps customers directly. The human connection.
Okay. How much money you have? Your balance.
That's the total amount in your account right now. A snapshot.
The source also talks about different types of accounts. There's a savings account.
Yeah. The source explains this one is really designed to help you save money. Maybe fewer transactions. Okay. And compared to a checking account.
That one, the source says, is more for your everyday spending. Daily use, maybe writing checks, using your debit card.
Gotcha. And one last term the source includes. Loan.
Right. That's money the bank gives you. But crucially, you have to pay it back, usually with interest.
So deposit, withdraw, balance, ATM, teller, savings, checking, loan. If you have those down, you're in pretty good shape, according to the source.
Absolutely. Those are the building blocks. Knowing them helps you understand the conversations, the forms, everything. And the source actually walks us through some typical interactions.
The real world scenarios. Like, let's say you need to open a bank account. How does that usually start?
Well, the customer usually states their purpose clearly, often politely, like, I would like to open a bank account.
Okay. And the teller needs more info, right? What's the key question they ask?
They need to know what kind of account. So do you want a savings account or a checking account.
Right. So you need to know the difference we just talked about before you go in. That's important.
Exactly. You need to have an idea. So maybe you say, like in the sources example, I would like a checking account, please.
And then comes the verification part.
Yes. The bank needs to know who you are. The source says the teller will ask something like, can I see your ID and proof of address? It stresses this is required.
Makes sense. Standard procedure.
Mm,
And then probably some paperwork.
usually, yeah. Please fill out this form.
Okay, so that's opening an account. What about just putting money in? Depositing money.
That's usually pretty straightforward. You state your intention. I want to deposit some money into my account.
And the teller needs the amount.
Right. How much would you like to deposit? You tell them, say, $200.
The source mentioned a specific piece of paper here.
The deposit slip. The source explains that's the paper you fill out with the details. So the teller might say, please fill out this deposit slip.
Okay. Yeah, and then they confirm it's done.
Yep. Something like, thank you, your deposit is complete. Simple confirmation.
What about the other way? Withdrawing money with a teller.
Similar start. You say, I would like to withdraw some money.
Teller asks how much.
How much would you like to withdraw? You give the amount, maybe $100.
And here's where that ID thing comes up again, right? The source highlights this.
Yes. This is really key from the source. They might ask, do you have your ID? Even for a withdrawal with a teller. It's about verifying it's really your account.
That's such a good tip. You might need ID more often than you think. Don't leave it at home.
Definitely. So after checking ID, maybe they ask for a signature. Please sign here.
And then?
Here is your money. The transaction's done.
But you don't always need a teller for cash. The source talks about using an ATM. Super common.
Right, and very useful, especially when the bank itself is closed. The source breaks down the process clearly.
What are the steps, basically?
Okay, first, insert your bank card. Then you need your PN. That's your secret code, personal identification number.
Card in, PIN in. Then what?
You choose what you want to do. So select withdraw for cash.
Tell the machine the amount.
Exactly. Enter the amount, maybe $60. Let it process.
And the machine usually tells you what's happening.
Yeah. Often gives instructions. It'll dispense the cash and usually shows a message like, please take your cash and your card. That last part's important. Don't forget your card.
Yes. And that ties into the safety tip the source mentioned too. Be aware when using an ATM.
Absolutely. Be safe. And the source really emphasizes, keep that PIN number totally secret. Don't share it.
So we've got the why, who, what, the words, and how. The conversations, the ATM. What else does the source tell us? It really encourages people not to be afraid to ask things.
Yes, that's a big takeaway. It's okay to ask questions. The bank staff are there to help you understand. That's their job.
And the source gives examples of good questions.
Yeah.
Like finding out your balance.
Yep. What is my account balance? And as the source notes, the teller might need to see your ID again to tell you that for security.
Good to know. What about practical stuff like when they're open?
Another good one mentioned. What are your opening hours? Helps you plan.
Makes sense. Any other example questions?
The source lists things like, how can I open a savings account? If you want to do that later. Or how much is the fee if you're asking about a specific service?
And if things get complicated?
There's always, can I speak to a manager? That's how you ask for someone higher up.
Great examples. Okay, so putting it all together, the words, the scenarios, asking questions, how does the source suggest you actually practice and get more comfortable? Any practical advice?
Yeah, several good tips. First, really learn that key vocabulary we went through. That's foundational. Second, push past any fear. Don't be afraid to ask. They expect questions.
And how you speak matters too.
The source advises speaking slowly and clearly. People are generally patient, especially if they know English isn't your first language. And just use English with confidence. It's okay to make mistakes.
And thinking ahead helps, like with opening an account.
Definitely. The source suggests knowing beforehand if you want savings or checking. Saves time. And the big one we keep mentioning because the source does, always bring your ID.
Let's nail that down again. Why is ID so crucial, according to the source?
Because you might need it for several key things. Opening the account, definitely, but also potentially withdrawing money with a teller or even checking your balance with a teller. It's how they verify it's you.
Right, verification. Super important. Any other quick tips?
Just a couple more practical ones from the source. Learn the bank's hours. Avoid showing up when it's shut. And the safety stuff again. Be careful at ATMs. Keep your PINs safe.
Okay, solid advice. And how to practice. How do you make this stick?
The source suggests very active methods. Learn the words and sentences, obviously. But then listen and repeat. It really stresses this. The more you listen and say the phrases, the better you'll get.
Say the sentences out loud.
Exactly. Practicing things like, I want to open a bank account. I need to deposit money. I would like to withdraw cash. What is my account balance? Where is the nearest ATM? Repeating these builds confidence for the real moment.
You don't have to practice alone either.
No, the source suggests practicing with a friend. You can role play the conversations. Super helpful. And of course, it recommends listening to the original source episode again. Hear the pronunciation. Let it sink in.
Wow. Okay, so when you boil it down, this source gives a really clear roadmap. We've covered why you go, the must-know words, typical conversations for key tasks like opening an account, deposits, withdrawals, using the ATM, and those practical tips, especially about ID and asking questions.
Exactly. By focusing on these basics and actually doing the practice the source suggests, you can really approach the bank feeling much more comfortable, much less worried about the language side of things.
So here's something to think about, building on that idea of confidence from the source. Consider how just feeling comfortable with a few key phrases, understanding those basic steps, how that can change things for you. It's not just about banking transactions. It's about unlocking access, gaining independence in your daily life. That practical language skill, it's a really powerful tool, wouldn't you say?